Welcome to the Priestess of Motherhood podcast. My name is Dania Foster. I am a clinical naturopath and energetics therapist in the realm of motherhood burnout, pleasure, and reclamation of self, body, and energy. So, I work with women who are exhausted, over it, and ready to finally stop abandoning themselves and their bodies in service to everybody else. So we can actually lead our families to thrive holistically without martyring ourselves in survival mode. And today's episode is for when motherhood makes you feel numb and reclaiming your body from survival mode. So, if this is calling you deeper, I invite you to join my upcoming free webinar called The Pleasure Path. It's held at the end of this month. All the details that you need to go deeper are in my show notes, so go check it out. So, disconnection is a survival strategy, it's not a flaw. So, you haven't failed, you really have adapted. The numbness that you're feeling in yourself is protection. It's not something that we can really identify with pathology. So your body has been your own for all of this early motherhood years. You've shared your breasts, your energetic aura, your bed. You've had little hands on your skin, a baby latched to your chest, and toddlers pulling and demanding your full attention for years. Okay. You've given and you've given, and then your partner may roll over and press into you, and it's like, no, just no. You are shutting down. This is primal. This is hormonal, and this is a sacred biological wisdom. So your body isn't actually failing, it's signaling to you that you're not ready. You're not meant to conceive or receive while you're depleted. So let's talk about the ways that you may switch off and try and protect yourself. So you may be scrolling social media, scrolling to just try and distract yourself. And you say you're doing it for just a bit of time out and coming back to yourself and catching up. But really, let's be honest, it is disconnecting you even deeper because social media becomes a bit of a trapdoor. You are trying to escape overstimulation, right? But actually what's happening that you're falling into feeds of curated joy, the tight postpartum bodies, clean homes, everything is staged. It's the highlight reel. We know that, but when we are in that state of overwhelm and we are just trying to disconnect, you grab your phone and you start scrolling, you are absorbing messages that you're not enough and that you need to be doing more because you're looking around at your everyday. You're looking around at your reality, and whether you're doing this consciously or unconsciously, you're comparing yourself and what's overstimulating you and overwhelming you in your everyday reality to what you're seeing on somebody's highlight reel. They're only posting what they want you to see. And let me share with you that a lot of it out there is not very realistic anymore. So you know that logically, but energetically, when you're absorbing that in that state, it's not doing you any favors. Okay. It's just pushing you down this pathway, a spiral of comparison, more guilt, more numbness, more not enoughness. And that's not a healthy way to support your nervous system. So, yeah, your nervous system, your body is asking for some sort of dissociation. It wants a rest from your everyday because you have been in demand for so much of your day, of your waking hours, from the moment you have your eyes peeled open for little fingers and asking for breakfast and this and that and that. You know, from that waking moment, you are under demand. So your body is craving a break and you are taking that through social media scrolling, but it is not the disconnect that you really need. So let's talk about some healthy dissociations. So I I'm an absolute fan of healthy dissociation, and I think that dissociation is a survival mechanism that we need to take on board. But let's talk about healthy ways we can do that. I will prescribe fantasy reading, smutty reading, sensual stories, because reading about these types of women, characters who have hit rock bottom emotionally, their strength is depleted, uh, and they move through these empowerment journeys back to themselves, back to really owning their body. They are powerful, they are sexually sovereign. That is much better escape because you can put your body in their shoes, you can put yourself in their shoes energetically, and you can really feel what it you can see your story reflected in their weakness and their growth as well. You can be like, I was like that. I remember when I felt like that, that pain, that wounding, and how you can see them grow and change and come back from that is really powerful. It's a really good way to dissociate and tune into a different reality that is not going to make you feel like you're failing. Okay. And it's a much better escape. So it activates this dormant desire without the pressure of your everyday. And you're allowed to let fiction reawaken these parts of you. Okay. Your body really needs a sanctuary before it can open back up to receiving again. So, little tiny safety rituals throughout your day are really, really important. So, looking towards soft light, warm, nourishing drinks, gentle breath work, um, just taking 10 minutes of closed doors and quiet time can be life saving in your early motherhood. You're allowed to take that space. You can teach your body from now onwards that it's okay to soften, to slow, to rest, to receive, even if it's just for 30 seconds of breath work. So I often share the story that when I was in my early motherhood, every time I'd get overwhelmed, I would go and flip on the kettle and make an instant coffee for just a bit of self-soothing. But then it ended up that I wasn't eating any food all day and I was just having, 5 instant coffees before 3 o'clock. And that is not nourishment. So what I did was I created a little anchor point in my day where every time I switched on the kettle, it brought me to a moment of breath work. And I started to breathe. I started to look out the window and anchor into the biggest tree I could see and feel the roots moving down my body. And from there, it became that from switching the kettle to make an instant coffee, I began to make a herbal tea because I began to connect back into my values and my desires and what I felt was more nourishing to me in that space and what I really wanted. I wasn't just doing it to um, fall into a pattern of survive. It was, what can I do to restore? And that was a turning point for me. So, little tiny rituals, little moments to connect back into self. And you'll know when you're coming back online, when you stop just coping and you start to crave a bit more for yourself. You start to open up to your desire, and that desire and that ability to want and to crave and to yearn within your body, that is a vital sign of your body coming back online. And so that is really important to notice when your body is shifting out of numbness to actually wanting more for yourself. Okay, it means that you're starting to awaken those parts of yourself. When you feel safe, your system's open. It's subtle. It's that hum that I speak of underneath your skin. You start craving moments of beauty, whether that's just like sitting in nature, watching the leaves move, going for a walk and noticing things like the changes in the sky and the seasons. You start to come back on board. You'll start to notice your partner's energy and become responsive to that again. These are your first signals that your desire and your connection are coming back. Okay, when we make these room to feel safer. You want to wear things that make you feel like yourself again. I remember in my early motherhood just feeling like a shell of who I was. I wasn't wearing clothes that made me feel like my own personality. I wasn't wearing things that made me feel alive. And when you start to become more playful, more flatty in the way that you dress, the way that you carry yourself, you'll begin like dancing in the kitchen, singing your songs again. These aren't signs that you're healed, but they're signs that you are healing. They're signs that you are opening to receiving again, and you are back online, back on path towards your pleasure. And guess what? Your children are feeling this reconnection within you as well. So you're less on edge. You're regulated, then they're less on edge. They're regulated more easily. And when you feel like yourself, they feel safer too. They feel that because you share that energetic aura with them. From usually energetically, we're holding them in our energetic aura until about 7 years of age. But first 7 years, you are energetically connected and you are carrying them with you in your energetic field. So, yes, you are responding and bouncing off each other. When you become softer, more playful, more present, so do they. Your libido is your life force. So it's not about wanting sex every night. We're not asking for that, but we're just asking for you to feel alive, for your libido to fluctuate, not flatline. We want you to be able to feel that flow of energy. We want you to be able to feel that ovulation peak of yearning. You want to feel like you desperately want it because that shows that your hormones are coming back. When you're shut down, even daydreaming about wanting or desiring feels dangerous. And I get that. I get where you may be right now, that you may be feeling that um, rest, touch, creativity, they're also out of reach for you if you are in that space of numbness and you're in that space of survival. But when we just inch forward towards these things slowly, we start to feel things becoming a lot more safe, and reclaiming your desires are a way back to yourself. So let's talk about some naturopathic tools that we have that can help you to reconnect. So this is where we really ground this magic into your physical body and give it a bit more tangibility. So you don't have to think your way into desire. It's not all about your mindset. It's about simple little practices to bring you back on board. So a beautiful thing in my toolkit that I bring on board with my treatment plan for mothers is herbs. So let's talk about, I'll give you 4 herbs that I love using for numb, burnt out mother stage. Let's say motherwort. Motherwort is like a hug in a cup. It is so nourishing, but at the same time, it is calming. It is for that racing heart, and it's going to drop you out of the race and back into the presence within your body. So it's a beautiful herb for motherhood anxiety. It's going to help replenish if you've been breastfeeding, um, bringing the bleed back if your bleed is a bit stagnated, lots of different things that go with that. So it's very specific, but it's a beautiful herb to bring on board. Withania, also commonly known as ashwagandha, is a very deep adrenal support. It's beautiful for the thyroid, it's beautiful for inflammation, it softens your fight or flight response and just drops you back into that body safety. Another herb that is amazing for our nervous systems is avena, also commonly known as our oats. So we can have these herbally as well as nutritionally. But herbally, oats are going to, or Avena is going to nourish frazzled nervous system. It's going to mend that wired but tired state of being. So that if you feel like your mind's running a million miles an hour, you don't have any space for rest, can't receive anything, oats are a beautiful way to open you up to that. Passion flower, one of my all-time favorites for nervine herbs and anxiety. It unwinds your racing mind. It's going to bring you back into your body. It's going to drop you out of the panic. Okay? Bring you back to self. Some of my favorite nutrients that I will bring on board for my mums who are feeling a bit numb and a bit burnt out and depleted. Number one would be magnesium glycinate. This is the mineral of restoration and deep surrender, allowing yourself to be taken care of on a cellular level. Also loving B6 in the form of P5P. This is your activated form of B6 so that your body doesn't have to do any extra work in the liver. And it's going to help bring your hormones on board, hormonal support, nervous system resilience. B6 is so important for mood and cycles. Zinc, another beautiful nutrient, vital for hormone conversions and sexual repair and getting your body back online. It's so good for mental health as well as hormonal syncing. Another amino acid that I love to compound, put this in custom compounding, and I've also been prescribing this lately in acute dosing as capsules for mothers who have got a lot going on, and if they're feeling a bit overwhelmed throughout the day, then you can take this acutely to help bring that overwhelm back into your body, get your brain back into a state of calm, is L-theanine. It is a beautiful precursor for calm, for clarity, for staying present in your body. So these are some beautiful herbs and nutrients that I look to bring you back online. They're just a handful of things. I like to keep this really specific for each person. So there's some of the things that I use quite regularly in my practice. Rituals that spark reconnection. Let's go there. So I spoke to you about my little breath work whenever you flick the kettle. Find what it is that you go to when you are feeling overwhelmed. If it's the kettle, if it is the fridge, if it is your phone for a quick scroll, and create a little anchor point there to create your breath work and come back into your body and center yourself on your values and what's most important to you. You might like to, at the end of the day, light a candle before having a shower and have a candlelit shower or bath, and just dropping back into your body, cleansing your body of the energies, stress, and where you have sent and left energy with people all over your day, little conversations, little moments, and just I call my power back and call it all back into your body while you're standing under that water and cleansing the energy of everybody else's input from the day, bringing yourself back into your body and yourself. A daily ritual is breast massage or using beautiful oils on your skin and then using it on your face and then moving it down your body, your chest, your belly, your feet. Breast massage is such a beautiful way to connect back in with your sensual body. And this is a little ritual that you can do in small parts. So it could just be starting with your face. It could be a hand massage with oils or your feet at the end of the day. Just taking little moments to come back and touching yourself and sending that devotion back into your body. Breathing it in. You might like to think of a little affirmation or I'm allowed to receive, bringing that love back into you. Sitting in the sun and just imagining that warmth reawakening your body, imagining that sun blessing you and coming back into self. Being present for sunrises and sunsets has been a instinctual healing practice that works on our circadian rhythms. So using the solar rhythms to bring your body back online is a beautiful ritualistic practice that is free. And you are available to that. If you don't want to be up at sunrise or you're too busy making dinner at sunset, I get it. Just take that moment when you open your curtains first thing in the morning to allow that sunlight to touch you and open you up and wake you up. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today for this podcast. If this has resonated with you at all, I'd love you to follow, give me a rating, share this episode with another woman who may need to hear this. This is exactly the type of thing that we'll be exploring in the Pleasure Pulse webinar, in the Pleasure Path, where we are going to be repairing energy at the root cause. The pleasure path isn't about getting your sexy back. It's about remembering what it feels like to want anything again. So we do begin with safety. We begin with softness. The link to register for that is in the show notes. So you can get all the full details on my website. See you inside the Pleasure Path webinar. Check out the link below.